Yeah. Just looking through all the different photos.
Yeah, I'm at the going through the wrong photos, yeah. Where's the ones that I had a while ago, John? Must have had them here somewhere. I should have them sorted out, but no where. Yeah.
Show me that one of you.
But there's better. There's there. This where's it? I just we'll start with my father first.
That's your father there, John Donoghue.
There's my father and my mother.
Yeah, and your mother
It's
there.
not a very good photo, but it's still, at least we have it.
Yeah.
That's my sister.
Tell us a bit about your father and mother, Chrissy.
Well, my father, he used to play music, accordion and other things, not pipes, accordion and whistles, and played everything. He used to make wagons. He would make ponies and cars, pony cars, I mean. He was a good carpenter. He used to make jewellery and baskets. So he was good at his trades. But he went down to town one night to see my mother. She was in hospital. She was sick. She was having a baby. But she was sick or something was wrong with her anyhow. And he went down to buy a set of harness downtown. Him and he bought a set of harness and he went to see my mother. Late that evening, he was on his road home. And he got 2 pints and came home. And the police stopped him because he came out of a Catholic pub, known as Republican pub.
This is up in Belfast.
That was on the Falls Road, yeah. So I'm going to show the children that one when I go down. I'm going to do for a tour and show that on it. So they took him away to many different police stations. And when he was found in the morning, he was holding his 2 hands in his head where he got the head kicked off him. But there's nothing anybody could do.
And he died.
Because people caught travellers thick and ignorant. And there was nothing they could do. They wouldn't get away with it now, but then they got away with it. So that left us with no father, mother in hospital, and left us with nobody. And this is my brother. There's not much of a photo, but I'll get a better one the next time.
It's your brother Tommy, isn't it?
That's my brother Tommy.
What happened to him?
Well, he went to England and with my mother and the family, and he went to collect my mother in the pub and a couple of others. He went to the pictures, come back the way he decided to pick them up for his own bad luck. And when he went into the pub, there was a bit of jealousy over him because he was a good looking boy, and he was knifed outside the door because it says women was looking at him. So he was knifed outside the door of the pub and he was dead within a few minutes. So my mother didn't get over that, you know what I mean? She never got over that, so that was only some of the family. So a lot more died in the family than that. Sisters and brothers and things, there's a lot more died than that. Now, every little photo there's a story to it. Now this photo, I was having one of the children. And
what age were you there, Chrissy? Do you know?
Oh, I was near enough 40.
Yeah.
39.
And you were having one of the children?
I was having one of the babies. And I got very sick. And I got pneumonia and I couldn't get a doctor to look at me because I was a traveller. And I had to go miles and miles do my rounds to look for a doctor. At the end of the round up then, I found one, a ped doctor. And if I didn't find him, I probably would have died with pneumonia. There's my brother Richie, God be good to him. That's the 70s now.
Where is he?
There, look, there's my brother Richie, there's my mother.
Yeah.
A stepfather and a brother. And he went to England, he got married and went to England. He went to England, he left his hometown. He went to London. And we cannot never find. People say he was dead and he was put in a poorhouse grave. And Can't find and get any trace of him, so he's 10 years missing. So, matter of fact, I have a poem about him now. I wrote a poem about him. And he's like many more Irish people in England, you know. So that's what happened to him in his older years. And there's a lot of very old photos there as well, but it's just that's my brother when he's about 13 in Belfast.
Which brother?
Paddy.
Which brother, Paddy? Paddy's still alive and well, healthy, God bless him.
He's in Belfast. He's a lucky boy.
Yeah.
Because he got to see his age, you know. So not many young fellas that are travellers today got to see a big age, so he's kind of, that's a protest, look, we organised down the
Shows
town. Yeah, there, look. There's Margaret, she's a little one in it. And Lily. And Wanda, Peter's little children. So we used to do that now a lot.
Yeah, tell us a bit about that, your protest and your activism, Chrissy. You and your sister, Nan.
Well, what happened was, there was too much against travellers. There was too many people. And they didn't give them no fair play or no rights. And every camp we went into, we were tortured in. So I was locked up across the road there. Police locked me up in the police station for standing up for my rights, yeah. I was took to court in the morning over it. There's another march we organised, you see it? And we just had to get up. Me and Nat, my sister Nan, and John Joyce and Paddy, brother Peter, it was all the one family. And my cousin Thomas McCann and Michael and my aunt, my uncle Tom and his wife. So we set up a group. Father Vernon gave us an office down the town and we set up a group. And everywhere there was hostile or protesters, we were there. And we got a lot of sites for the travellers in Dublin. But we were there helping them and highlighting it. So I have so many photos, it's just I can't put that in and get into trouble or something. No, this was the field up we were camping on. Now, bulldozers used to come here in the field every morning across the road in the winter, and they bulldozed the camp, and they hired this trailer full of water, and she was found swimming in the top of it only from one of the children. She was dead. So I decided to the women, told them when we get together not to allow the bulldozers in. So we got together and we wouldn't let them in. And of course, the fired stones at it. So they run anyhow and left the bulldozer there and got the police. It was only a group of women really. But when they came back they said I was the ringleader, so I was the one who was locked up over it. So we ended up anyhow in the camp. We still ended up there because we wouldn't go. While I was locked up, the family blockaded the Malahide Road. And they had fires in it and won't let no motors up and down. So that's how we ended on the Malahide Road across the road. But they ended around up then they built as a site, 6 houses. And the garden was only fit for only mice. The garden was fit for mice and there was loads of walls around it and the children had nowhere to play. And you felt that you were in the jail. You felt that you were doing time in jail. So couldn't cope with it. So I'd rather go out in a mucky field. This is where we're back out in another camp, look.
Yeah, I remember that one myself. I lived there, yeah.
Camp. So we pulled in up the road before they built that new road up there. And of course the people said they owned it, they didn't. They sold it to the county corporation and the county council. There's look, they were down there fighting for civil rights road. So didn't get that or not. But we ended up down the road anyhow. And we had to fight for that place. They were putting us out again. We had to fight for that place. And the council got other people to say they owned the land. And got us out anyhow. Well, They tried to get us out, but we wouldn't go. We started more carry on up there. And they used to throw lorries of slurry in on top of us and lorry of sewerage and thrown everything on top of us to get us going. But at the end of the roundup anyhow, they didn't get away with it. So we stayed there, and then out of that, behind our back, they built a site on top of another one. So on the bit we didn't know there was a site, they said they were giving us a field far down the road, and we looked, the site was on top of every other traveller site on the road. Oh, I said, this is no good, we can't cope here. And this is where we were in the field. So we can't cope in this, I said. So we moved along anyhow and got out of it. We felt smothered in it. But I think they should have little places for travellers going from one side to another. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you have that in England, don't you? From Scotland to Wales, there's a number of camping sites along the way that the travellers can pull into. They're called transit camps.
Yeah. But you see, they haven't got a transit camp here for the travellers. So they've either to stick to the one place or to get a house. And be a part of the settled people. Or suffer whatever. Put you into a little jail site with high walls around you. And smother you in. So this is what the travellers has to go through. That's the life they went through. So that's why they had to settle when they put them into these sites with no other choices, only to take them. And now a lot of the travellers now is in the settled community. And their whole culture changed, their whole way of life changed, and their culture changed. So they lost their culture, do you know what I mean? They get, when they come here, when people come here, they find that if there's more culture here than there is in any other place, you know. And they find you have a strange way of living, and we put up with the hardship, for to live our life normal as we can. But most people, older people anyhow, cannot live in houses because they couldn't light a bit of fire outside. And then if they lived in a house, the problem is if they live in the house, the only way they have big families, well, they come and go to see them, and come and go, and that's the way travellers are. They always like to check on their families, their brothers, their sisters, their mother and their father. But they're not supposed to do that when they go into a house. So travellers now, most travellers will never visit a house if their people is in it. It's the loneliest place you can get, yet you're among hundreds of people, and yet it's lonely for travellers. And some travellers, older travellers, don't last in a house. They're broken-hearted in a house. Where if you're in the field, and even when you sat at the gate, someone will pull up and say, hello Chrissy, or hello Paddy, or hello Mick, or whatever, and they stand a few minutes chatting you. Where if you were in the house, nobody would pass, and nobody would come near you. So that life is not for travellers. So the day will come when travellers will be soon gone. So this is why now I'm going to set up all these things, bits of things, one side for another. I have stuff here for years, and stories for years. And what I'm going to do is, I know the culture is going to go, and there's going to be nothing left, only that, and won't be travellers' language or anything left. No history about them, no nothing about them. So this is the reason why I want to do this. I wanted to do, there's things there I would love to put on YouTube. There's things there people don't know about, children don't know, but travelling houses especially, they wouldn't know about anything like that. But this is why I want to put these stories away. So I'm hoping to go down to Belfast one of the days with yourself and the boys and the girls, and we're going to give we're going to do a tour with a family tour of Tinker's Tales around the sites, and tell the stories, who's in the sites and what went on with them. And I'm hoping that they were there the last time I went down. I went around for a tour with my brother Mick, and we went all around the sites. And the funny thing about the strange things about it, none of them sites was closed, none of them was bulldozed, none of them was locked up. But the minute they get into a site here, they find the ground for Dublin Corporation or the County Council. So the minute they're out the gate, their camp is gone forever. There's one camp in Belfast. There's it was the wildlife, only the wildlife and the travellers lived in it. And they'd lived in the summer, that was a Protestant side, because it was a lovely place. There was plots of potatoes and stuff that travellers never touched. Travellers were very good living people at that time. They wouldn't go near anything belonged to anybody. Nothing did go near. And they were very good people. And I don't know how they were discriminating. I can understand why some people discriminate in this now. But then I didn't understand how they did it then, because the travellers were so good, and when they'd be travelling around, they wouldn't leave that much straw behind them. They wouldn't leave a mark of a fire. They covered with grass. They were so clean. They used to even be in the tourist cards. They were that clean with their old wagons. And you know, the camps are still there. So there's one place in the Bully Bars. There's another place in Shaw's Bridge. There's another place in Hollywood Road. There's another place in the Bog Meadows. There's another place in Springfield. And we'd all settle in there in the winter. And we'd travel in the summer, because travellers live up their wagons. If they had a wagon, they would leave them up for someone to mine them and, in a yard. And then they'd go travelling with the car and pony or the four-wheeler pony, because it was too much for the pony in the summer. And the tent was good enough. And then during the winter, then they'd come back in and park their wagons in. So I'm going to show you some, when I get down there, I have a lot of photos here to get through and a lot of stories to tell in them. It's when I'll sort them out and I'll put them all together. And then I'll tell you the story of each person, well, each tragedy that happened to people, and the sadness that happened to not I suppose, a lot of people. And nearly every photo you pick, this my grandchild. That was one of their birthdays. This little child died in the trailer. Took 2 nights later. Hot dead in the morning, and then there's a lot of tragedy where people was killed and, you know, murdered, and so that was my brother murdered, and my father murdered. God be good to him, and his father was shot.
Who's his now for everybody else?
My husband, yeah, Paddy's. Well, he's not. He's Lord to mercy him, he's dead now. But his poor father was shot over a rabbit. Many's a time my brothers and uncles stole a rabbit out of a field. And you'd be very glad at them when you're hungry, because there wasn't a big lot of food out them times. You'd plenty of food out now, but there was no food out them times. And you'd be glad to get a rabbit. You'd think it was a great thing to see a Neil coming home, or a rabbit, or steal a pheasant. There's no other choice, because they didn't have any money or doles, and there's times they'd get stuff to sell and times they wouldn't. So people was glad of anything. They would go out and come in there to sea, and they'd pick the cockles and mussels and dallas out of the sea, the children would. So at that time, you know what I mean? But not only the travellers was poor and hungry, there was a lot of other people, settled people as well, had it hard, you know. So we can't just say that it was travellers, because I knew a lot of poor settled people. But at that time, travellers were good-natured people, you know. They didn't want a big load of money. They didn't want a big load of value. That's the grandchild. Didn't want a big desert protest, me and Nan. Your sister Nan, Paddy.
Hang on there.
John and Thomas, yeah.
Yeah, and John, yeah. And Big Daddy, yeah.
Yeah, we're chained to the...
That's the one that you ended up chaining yourself outside Dáil Éireann.
That's right, yeah, that's right. We did indeed. Terrible what you do.
You did a hunger strike as well.
Oh, we did. Not a bit of food in our stomach. Nothing in it.
What was it, 2 or 3 days?
We got that hungry, we weren't able to eat food then when we got. I swear to God I wasn't able to look at it. That food was put into it. I was picked out of thousands of photos. It's on the paper now. This mother got me, but that was our field.
That's how Nan McCann, your mother.
She's Nan McCann, married to Donoghue.
She married Donoghue, yeah.
Yeah, and that's Mary. And Elizabeth, that's Miss May too, and that's Nan's one. That's the old field down there where we were years ago. So I must find the ones that all the stories is about. And most of the people is dead here now, look. See, he's dead. That's mother's sister. He's dead. She's dead. That old woman's dead. That old man is dead. Some of them young fellas is dead. There's the photo of the old wagon we had 25 years ago. That's the one we used to tell the stories in, do you remember?
To me and the boys and all, yeah, and the girls.
Yeah, that's the one we used to tell the stories to. So, there's so much stuff. You just never get around to it. There's boxes and tapes and CDs and videos and all type of stuff.
So you've an awful lot to upload then.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to upload. And there's a lot of photos.
And there's going to be stories about the history of Ireland, about your family history, about travellers and about culture, about where everybody came from and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
And we're going to go on the road a bit and tell a few stories about the old camps. You're going to show us that, aren't you?
On the road, yeah, on the road. Everybody else can do it. So that's my Uncle Tom, God be good to him. He used to play in the streets of Dublin. He's a great mother's brother.
Yeah.
He's a great hound music player. But he died, God help him, he got a lot of mercy in his poor self. That's my sister Nan. That's my Uncle Joe's wagon. Do you remember he fought for civil rights?
Yeah, Nan passed away just last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right, just one in a year.
Your Uncle Joe was one of the first activists, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right, that's his wagon there now. And he's a cousin there, he's dead and gone. Old Nan Donoghue, remember old Nan Donoghue who wrote the book?
Yeah.
Well, that was her man. Yeah, that's Paddy and Sarah. So there's so much. There's a lot of black and white photos. There she is. There, look, when she was in the camp. Look, she's sweeping the old camp. The poor old thing. She cancer for 10 years. She lived for 10 years with it. She was a strong old woman, but she went like a matchstick. Yeah, she went like a matchstick. The poor old creature. So it's a terrible disease to get. That's some of the Connors. I think he's my sister Bonnie's.
Show us that photo.
That's my
Great photo.
Sister Bonnie's brother-in-law. She was married to Connors, yeah. And there's loads of stuff. Loads. There was no end to the stuff. Yeah. That's Nan's trailer years ago. Look. That was Paddy's old aunts. Look at them. There must be 100 each. They're from the father's side.
Yeah.
But the mother's side didn't live long. But the father's side
lived long old ages.
Good old ages, yeah. So, good old ages, God help them, yeah. So, there's so much. That's Paddy's father now, God be good.
That's old Paddy Ward, who was shot dead in 1942 by a landowner over accused of snaring rabbits.
That's right, yeah.
Turns out he didn't even rob the rabbit in the end. We found out from the farmer.
Yeah. So that's his brother. His brother is about 8, I'd say, and that's 7 or 8.
That's old John. That's John Ward, Lord of Mercy.
No, that's Mike.
Oh, is that Mike Lord of Mercy?
Yeah. So they were left without a father as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you know, people think that Travers had it easy years ago. They didn't have it easy. Far from it. They didn't have it easy at all. But in spite of it all, they were happy people. In spite of it all, they got along with their life, you know. Well, I know where I came from anyhow, where I was reared. They got along with their life. And they had it. There was no other choice. But now they can't get along with their life. They can't cope with nothing anymore. They have to take a drug, or they have to take a drink, or, you know, or they have to run away.
Yeah, it's everybody in general like that nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. They're not facing what's coming to them. But of course, in my crest anyhow, it says we're people likes to see what's facing us, what's coming. I swear to God it does. So these are not the big ones.
That's the Donoghue crest.
That's the Donohoe Crest, yeah. And I do too, because I couldn't sleep with my curtains over. Because I like to see who's coming, if I was in bed in the night time, I'd like to see who's prowling around or who's coming to the door. I'm very like that. It calls me very nosy. But you see, I suppose it's in me, I can't help it. That a lot of things are a lot of things has happened in the past, so you have to be aware of the future. But sure, there's not much future left in me anyhow, but nevertheless, this is why I'm doing this. That's now, the other fella showed you was murdered. No, yeah, the other fella that was murdered, Tommy.
Yeah.
Well, that's his daughter, and she never got married. She probably was afraid that she'd be left a widow, I suppose. So, you know, photos of the pilgrimages. Look, used to go on pilgrimages years ago. Look, used to walk miles and miles. 20 and 21 miles. I must get that video and download it.
Yeah. The one of you doing the pilgrimage in the 80s.
Yeah, I must get it off.
Where did you go to that time?
We went to
Patrick or?
Yeah, we went to Galway. We went Yugon Barra, is it? And we went there and went to different places. And St. Patrick's Mountain down in County Galway. And we walked 20 mile to 21 mile a day. I was pushing the pram with a child in it. And my feet wouldn't come in the door by the time I was finished. And I couldn't cool them. I swear to God. And I got dehydrated. I fainted when I come home.
Tell us about the old nuns and priests, how they got along the pilgrimage.
Oh my God. The poor priestess comes on along with us, and the nuns, God help them. There's the children's Holy Communion for it. Look, there can pony.
Yeah.
Now, the poor priestess and the nuns came along with us. And they had a totally different culture than us. And they couldn't understand us. So we got it hard enough to understand them. But we should have known this before we started. So the all came out lovely and refined, and they had smooth skin and lovely hair and everything neat. Oh my God, there were a few days there and they got the roughest looking people you ever seen in your natural life. There you wouldn't think they're the same people. Their faces was burned off them, their hairs was standing on top of their head. They didn't know how to build the tents. I said to them, look, don't build your tent in that hole because you get flooded. No, that's grand, that's grand. You get up in the middle of the night when the rain is starting to be flooded. And I said to them, don't turn your door to the wind. Because if you turn your door to the wind will blow off your tent. And your cooker will go, no, that's all right. We wouldn't be able to get the cooker, the kettle bite or the pot bite, honest to God. And God, oh God, Father Paddy was more like a traveller than he was. He had his old beard growing. Yeah. We said to him, like, if we're all going together, them all said, you have to be rough like us. You can't be taking showers and baths and you can't be getting special treatment. You have to do the same job as us. So they got it rough. They couldn't have no showers. They couldn't have no baths. They went up in the bog and they washed themselves in the bog. The bog water. And they had to put the bog water into the kettle. I swear to God. They had to put the bog water into the kettle. And you wouldn't believe that these were settled people that didn't round up. They were rough. Their feet were swelled. They were rough. And of course, you see, travellers be travellers and they'll never change. Sometimes they won't change. Because the first one will be there, they'll walk 10 miles and stop and have a break. So the first one will be there, whoever made the tea, the travelling young fellas that met in with us, they'd go to them for the tea and they'd lift the kettle, they'd tell us no harm. And we'd be waiting for the nuns to give them the tea. And the nuns would keep looking at one another and they wouldn't understand it. And I see them getting a little bit funny. I said, sisters, that's the way travellers are, said. If they had a kettle on and said they'd love you, they wouldn't mind you lifting their kettle or a sandwich. I said, that's the way they are. I said, you got to get used to them.
It's about giving to each other, like, yeah.
Yeah, give and take, yeah. But it was always give and take. It was always give and take in the past for travellers. They gave, they took, but they repaired back. I mean, if you gave my mother something at the door of a house, when she was going to the houses, And they gave her something and they didn't want nothing on the basket. She said to them, "Oh, here, Alana, there's a little comb for your the basket. Oh, here, Alana now. Here, Alana." It was, I don't know what type of word that was. I think it's, I think the priest told me what Alana was. "Here, Alana." No, Alana, I won't take them for nothing, Alana. And they give them something out of the basket. So they were kind of proud people, you know. I know the one in the north, I don't know too much of this country now, but the Travers are very proud people. And they sell Moore's Armix. So you're not supposed to sell Moore's Armix according to Catholic religion. But they did sell Moore's Armix. You got a couple of bob for them, I think 6pence each.
What were they?
They were a magazine predicting the future. Yeah, honest to God. And they would sell them on the street, or they would sell them, Old Moore was his name. He was a prediction to the future. But it was Lucky Charms and everything. Something like what Travers are doing in England, or Gypsies. Say, "Will you buy the Lucky Charm off me? Will you buy a Lucky Charm off me? Will you buy this off me?" You know, the gift of the gab. The Irish have the gift of the gab. So they used to sell Old Moore's Armix. They sell Little Charms. They tell fortunes.
You're a liar.
They tell fortunes. They would tell fortunes. I used to tell fortunes now years ago with my sister Nan. I tell them Ballyclare Fair. Go to Ballyclare.
Yeah.
I was only about 18.
I remember, Chrissy, years ago when I was living up in the flat, I was only a child, and you camped up outside the flat with the wagon and you told the stories.
Oh,
You told all the fortunes.
Yeah.
You had people queuing up for around the corner to get the fortune told by you.
I only done it for one day. One day.
I remember that.
The field was too wet.
Yeah.
So that's what we used to do in Ballyclare, because there wasn't any money to be got. So my sister Nan had said to me, "Hi Chrissy, do you want to come to Ballyclare with me? We make a few bob." Yeah. You stand at the door and there was gypsies in it. We were done at Travers. There was gypsies in it, and they say, "You call the girls and boys," and all the girls and boys would come to you.
Yeah.
And I'd stand at the door and I'd call all the girls and boys.
Yeah.
And we're there for about a week. We used to get a few bob in it. When you get the price of, at the end of the, you get a price of food and a few clothes and whatever at the end of the week for the children. So it was Ballyclare Fair now. And I wish I could go to it for the show it here. And I remember one time we camped there in Ballyclare Fair. We got a bad flood. We found it wasn't long dead. We had no wagon because we mother sold the wagon to get money for the hearse and whatever. So we got about the Gavins and Rocky Gavin and McCanns. They were related as well. And we had to go into a stone kennel to sleep for the night. Went into a stone kennel. But the Travers was good out. The Travers were good out. Travers now. You know what I mean? There was nothing wrong with them. They'd never kill you with a weapon. They'd never hit you with a weapon or anything.